I'll tell him. Bye. Good morning. You're in early.
Haven't been to bed.
Working late?
Well, there was this tradition in 17 something. Oh, you've got an aspirin, yes?
Yes, of course.
No, don't bother. I'm beyond aspirin.
You were saying about the tradition.
Yes, well, it was one of those pointless wars of the period. Can't remember who won it. Can't even remember the battle, but C Company got cut off. Fighting the French, probably. Fighting them for most of the time. What was I saying?
C Company got cut off.
Oh, yes, we were getting chopped to pieces, and I think it was Lieutenant. He suggested to the company commander the intelligent thing to do was to surrender. So this idiot of a company commander, he made one of those heroic remarks which always result in somebody getting killed. And he said this company will continue to do its duty so long as there is an officer still standing. Anyway, practically everyone got killed, but the thing became part of our tradition. So once a year we have this dinner party where we all go on drinking afterwards until there's only one officer left standing.
Did you win?
No. The trouble is they don't just drink port like they used to. They mix the drinks. Look, I'm sorry, but I think I'm going to be terribly...
Not even a friendly greeting.
He's got something to do.
Oh, yeah. This is about the time of year when he has that quaint tradition whereby he has to drink himself unconscious. Hello. How did the RSPCA get my name?
There's been a phone call for you.
Oh, yeah? Already?
From Sir Christopher Pendle. He'd like to see you as soon as possible at your convenience.
Well, my convenience is at the end of the landing. I'm sure his is more comfortable.
Shall I ring him back and make an appointment?
Sir Christopher must be very anxious to see me if he phones in the first 10 minutes of office hours.
That's what I was thinking.
And he phoned me personally. I mean, not his secretary.
Personally?
Right.
I'll fix it then.
He will not. You'll let him stew. Why should he phone me?
Perhaps it's something he doesn't want Mr. Harris involved in.
Yeah. Suppose he's been checking on Astor Harris. I mean, take the last couple of months. Singapore, the Far East, Africa, 2 trips to the Middle East, and the rest. What, Sir Christopher might be asking himself, did Harris bring back with him in terms of actual orders?
Pendle's got 2 orders.
Yes, but not through Harris. I think he might have spotted that Harris can't bring the loot in, whereas I, whom he doesn't like either, can. Any coffee going?
Yeah.
Do you know what I think, love? I think Sir Christopher wants to offer me a job.
But you wouldn't want to work for Pendle's.
No, I know that. You know that. But Sir Christopher doesn't.
I suppose it's possible.
And if the job he wants to offer me happens to be Astor Harris's job, that would explain why Harris is not exactly the person he'd choose to open negotiations, doesn't it?
Yes. Oh, one moment. I'll never guess who.
What?
Mr. Harris.
Well, what can one say but, show him.
Do come up. Good morning, Mr. Harris.
Morning. Lovely day, isn't it?
Yes, fine. Well, we'll fix that for you as soon as possible. No, I'm sure you can rely on delivery. Well, I'd say give us 4 days on it and we'll have the whole thing through. Yes, that'll be quite simple. All right, fine. See you soon. Okay, bye. Hello, Astor. You come to see how the other half live? Oh, sorry, do sit down. No, you ought to take all the rest you can. Now, tell me all about it.
Well, got something maybe of use to you.
Oh, yes, go on.
Just a small consignment.
What of?
Replacement parts and spares.
Oh, yeah.
Helicopter bits and pieces.
They're going somewhere they shouldn't.
Certainly not. Mobilia.
So why come to me?
Well, I'll be quite frank.
No, please don't be that. Just be natural.
Well, in the past, you brought quite a lot of business to Pendle's. Sometimes we scrapped about whether it should come directly through me or indirectly through you, but it generally finished off as an order for Pendle's anyhow.
So?
There's no reason why Pendle's shouldn't do you a good turn once in a while?
No reason at all, except force of habit. Oh, that reminds me. Get Sir Christopher, will you? Tell him I'll phone him back sometime later today.
Christopher's been phoning you.
Yeah. But I thought you'd know. Sorry, do go on, Esther.
Well, it's a fairly large order, and it's dependent on these parts and spares getting out on schedule.
Try British Rail.
It's already at the docks. Simply a question of getting it loaded. Here's all the details. SS Chepstow.
What's in it for me?
3%.
3% of your profit. On £14,000. Oh, come on, Bomber. You used to have a sense of humour.
Not 3% on our profit, 3% on 14,000.
Oh, £420.
Yes.
I'll let you into a secret, Bomber. I make more now than I did when I was in the army.
Plus 3% of our next mobillion deal, on the same conditions, that you get the parts and spares out on schedule.
And what's the next deal worth?
I'm quite sure 2 million, could be 3.
What's the catch?
None that I know of.
But there will be a next deal.
Well, it's all dependent on getting these parts and spares out on time. It's all in there.
Can I keep this?
Yes, of course. And if you're going to take over the order, you'll have to change the manifest anyhow. I think you'll find everything's pretty well sewn up. Our main competitors for the next pavilion deal were our old French friends. They discovered they'd got a backlog of orders, and we could promise delivery in 2 months.
Yeah.
So the business was ours. Provided always, of course, that the spares and so on get out on time.
Tell me, Bomber, do you know something that I don't?
Meaning what exactly?
Your unexpected generosity. Is the SS Chepstow liable to sink with all hands or something?
Not that anyone's told me.
So what is it?
I don't know what you mean.
Why have you given me this?
Well, there's no good trying to pull the wool over your eyes. We've had some labour troubles at Pendle's. Sacked a man, shop steward. For a time it looked as though the whole transport section was going to come out.
So what's wrong with this consignment?
Well, while things were being sorted out, we simply had to press on.
Using blacklegs, you mean?
Using a private transport company. It's all over now.
So?
It's just that these crates might be easier if they went out on your manifest rather than on ours. All right?
$5%.
What?
On the next deal, I don't get 3. I
No,
get 5.
don't be greedy, Hine.
All right, forget it then.
Thought you'd like to challenge.
My mother told me never to accept 3% from strange men.
5%.
Right.
Oh, by the way, what did Christopher want you to call him back about?
Oh, nothing much. Anyway, he asked me to treat it in confidence.
Yes, of course. It's just that I was on my way straight to the office. I thought I could carry a message for you.
Don't tempt me, Bomber.
Thought it might gratify you in some strange way.
Thanks all the same. Now, what is going on? Anything to do with loading the Chepstow?
Why? I do what I'm told, don't I?
I wish more people did. Only 3 of these crates are mine. I just want to know when they're going to be loaded.
You're about to speak to Mr. Cooper.
Afternoon.
Afternoon.
You from the press, brother?
No.
In that case, may I ask what your interest is?
I'll tell you what, you tell me who you are, I'll tell you all about me.
I've no statement to make at this time, mate.
No, I don't want a statement. I just want to know when those 3 crates outside are going to be loaded.
You're from Pendle's, then.
No, crates are on my manifest. Right?
As far as my union's concerned, we're not in a state of dispute.
I don't know what you're talking
We're
about.
perfectly prepared to load those 3 crates and the other 3 involved.
What
At
other
no
3?
time have we made any contrary affirmation.
What are you talking about?
The whole issue with the NASCC is an internal union matter. All we're doing is fulfilling our fraternal obligations.
Look, I don't know who the NASCC is or are. I don't know what you're talking about, and you still haven't told me who you are.
My name's Cooper. You haven't told me yours.
Hine.
And you want them crates loaded?
Yeah.
And I'm telling you there won't be.
No,
Don't assault me, brother.
I'm not assaulting anybody, brother. I just want to know what's the matter with them.
Nothing. We're not in dispute.
Well, who the hell is?
Nobody's a token gesture of solidarity, that's all. Now, if you excuse me, I've got work to do.
Well, you can't all be like him. Smoke?
No smoking on the wharf.
Oh. What's this NASCC, whatever it is?
National Association of Ships Chandlers Conveyancers.
Well, how did they get in on the act?
Well, it's them decided about the crates.
So who do I see?
Mr. Dibble.
And where do I find him?
Into that shed. Turn right. There's an old building facing you. It's just inside there.
Right.
Come in.
Mr. Dibble?
Yes?
My name is Hine. Joe Hine. I was told you could help me with getting some crates loaded onto the Chepstow.
You're from Tropical Supplies.
No, I'm interested in getting the crates from Pendle's onto that ship.
I'm afraid that's impossible.
Why impossible?
Mr. Hine, in order to create the least possible inconvenience, they've been registered with the Gulf Princess.
It'll only mean a delay of 12 days or so.
Yes, but I don't want them on the Gulf Princess. I want them on the Chepstow.
Please believe me, Mr. Hine, we've only taken this step after very careful consideration.
Well, they're only replacement parts.
Exactly. That's why they were selected.
Yes, they're replacement parts, but they happen to be extremely important. It's important they go on that ship.
In fact, the delay will probably be less than 12 days, more likely 11.
Or perhaps even 10.
The Gulf Princess is a faster ship, you see.
Well, why the hell can't they go on the Chepstow?
I must explain, we've only taken this step
After very careful consideration. I know, you've said that.
and consultation with our colleagues in the other ports. As a society, we don't approve of moves which harm the nation's economy.
That sort of thing has caused a lot of ill feeling in the past.
Well, what's wrong with this consignment?
Oh, nothing.
Nothing at all.
We have explained our position.
No, not to me, you haven't.
Aren't you from Pendle's?
No.
He did, in fact, say he wasn't.
You are, as it were, acting as an agent.
You could call it that, yeah.
Only we had a very frank correspondence with Pendle's, and indeed, Mr. Wheeler here spoke to one of their executives on the telephone about it.
Yes, indeed. They understood the position.
I happened to be out of the office at the time, otherwise I should have taken the call.
Look, this correspondence and this phone call, who was it with?
It won't take me a moment to find the letters.
Was his name Harris?
Yes, that's it, Mr. Harris. With a rather unusual Christian name, I seem to remember.
Astor.
Yes.
Yes, that
Well, would you tell me, just very briefly, what it was that you spoke about?
Oh, well, Mr. Hine, what do you know about the history of the trade union movement?
No, I just want to know why.
If you'll bear with me, now, as you know, a great many trade unions consist mostly of semi-skilled or unskilled men.
Look, Mr. Dibble, I'm in a hurry.
Of course. Now, these are what is known as the new trade unions. That is to say, they tended to have their roots in labour relations towards the middle and the end of the last century.
Yes, so what has this got to do with you?
Nothing. That is the point. The NASCC is much older. He was originally more or less a guild. Mr. Wheeler and I had to serve an apprenticeship to enter. Now, our responsibility is to account for everything that is loaded on a ship that is not the property of the shipping company itself. Now, whereas the actual handling of, say, freight is simple in that it is documented all the way. Consider, for example, a piece of scientific equipment on loan, shall we say, from a learned society to a particular man who is not either on the ship as a crewman or an officer or a paying passenger. Such a man, say, as Joseph Banks.
Who?
Well, as you recall, he accompanied Captain Cook on his first voyage to Tahiti.
One of my ancestors actually was the conveyancer for that very ship.
Oh, that's fascinating. Well, look, to get back to these...
There are, as you will realise, a great many circumstances in which our work becomes extremely involved in assessing not only the responsibility for insurance,
Yes, all
but
I'm
also
interested in is getting those 3 crates on the Chepstow.
Exactly. But suppose they were for use by the shipping company on a sale or return basis.
Ah, but they're not.
I was only using it as an illustration. Now, we would be the first to agree that in many ways, modern techniques have greatly facilitated our work. On the other hand, it has involved complications. Now, over the last 15 years...
16.
I stand corrected, 16 years, we have been approaching our employers over an increase in our basic salary. Now, as we are a small organisation, I can honestly attribute it to that, our requests have been, frankly, ignored. Now, we've also been placed in a somewhat delicate position by the fact that a number of the bigger unions in the docks seem to expect us to become part of them. Now, in view of our status as one of the oldest societies, we never wanted to be associated with them.
Well, many of their members are virtually unskilled.
So, after a last appeal to the management, we decided on drastic action.
We are going to stage a token delay.
Meaning what?
Well, we went through the manifest of the Chepstow, and after consultation with my colleague, Mr. Wheeler here, and with the full support of the members of the NASCC and the other ports, we have refused to allow 6 crates, the contents of which seem to be of the least urgency, to go on the ship.
It is, of course, you realise, only a token stoppage.
Oh, well, not to me it isn't.
Mr. Hine, you must realise that, small as we are, the NASCC could in fact stop all shipments from every port in England. But we are totally opposed to anything that could damage the nation's economy.
In fact, this is the first action we've taken for over 300 years.
Both I and Mr. Wheeler have been physically molested on our way to work as we had to cross picket lines during strike action by various other unions.
Well, you happen to have picked the wrong crates and the wrong boy. Look, it's extremely important to me that those crates go on the Chepstow and arrive when they're supposed to arrive.
I'm afraid we have made our decision.
It's worth £100 to me to get those crates on the Chepstow.
I hope, Mr. Hine, that I have misunderstood you.
£100 to any charity you care to name.
I'm afraid you don't understand. We've not taken this action lightly.
Or irresponsibly.
It's a question of principle. Good day, Mr. Hine.
Who's responsible for those crates?
As they've not been entered through us, they are presumably the responsibility of whoever delivered them here.
Pendles.
Yeah.
And the job of actually loading them onto the ship?
That is, of course, rather involved.
I don't see why.
Well, as I've explained, those crates are not, as far as we're concerned, at these docks at all. The responsibility of loading them is that of the Port Authority.
Who employ you?
Yes.
I see.
They can, of course, only act with the cooperation of the various trade unions involved. I hope that's clear.
Perfect.
You're looking better.
Fallacy of the hair of the dog theory is if you've been bitten by a mongrel.
Any results?
Did what you said. As soon as you phoned, I got on to Southampton, Liverpool and Bristol. But it's the same story everywhere. No one will touch that cargo.
Oh. You just see Astor Harris's face. I bet he can't stop laughing.
I'm ready and available.
Oh, shut up and let me think. Right. We'll fly the damn things.
At a price.
I don't care what it costs. It's the next deal that interests me.
Astor Harris is learning, isn't he?
Learning what?
How not to be a gentleman.
Sue, find out when's the next flight to anywhere near Mobilia.
I don't suppose there'll be an airport.
No, not the destination, no. But if I can get them part of the way, it still gives me a week or so to get them the rest of the way, doesn't it?
And how will you get them the rest of the way?
Well, how the hell do I know? They can put them on a raft and float them down a bloody river for all I care. Come on, you find out for me. Do some work for once. There must be roads or something. Use your initiative.
Sir Christopher's secretary rang up. She wanted to know when it would suit you to see him.
Well, it doesn't, not till I can get his crates to do it. I mean, I wouldn't mind if the whole damn docks are out on strike. But just two men making a token gesture over 6 crates. Tropical Supplies. Right, get on Directory Inquiries and find out the number of a firm called Tropical Supplies Limited. They're in Macclesfield.
Managing director here. Aye, that's me. I know about that. It's a union. You see that... Oh, you know. Aye. Well, no, as a matter of fact, I was rather hoping that you'd be in a position to help me. What's in them? Why, hammocks mostly. No, hammocks. Hammocks as you sleep in. Ah, that's right. Well, we used to. I could send you a catalogue if... Oh, I see. Well, I suppose you could say as the hammocks is urgent in that the shoppers has ordered them for special customers. They don't keep hammocks in stock, you see, not more than 1 or 2 any road. Natives? They don't use hammocks? No. Aye. Well, I'd be very much obliged if you let me know if how it happens. Aye.
All right. Well, that's out. Jeremy, go out and buy a large-scale... Jeremy! Go out and buy a large-scale map of Mobilia and find out what connections there are between where those crates have got to go to and anywhere we can get them to by air. Sue, start phoning round. Find out who flies freight anywhere near. If the planes are all booked up or if they're too small, if there aren't any, well, then see what it'd cost to charter something.
Should anybody want you?
Should anybody want me, I've gone down to see the port authorities.
ask him to come in.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Do sit down.
Thank you.
Do you like a cup of tea?
No, thanks.
My name's Alan Murray, 2 L's in the Alan, Scottish or something.
My name's Joe Hine, 1 J in the Joe.
Sorry you had such trouble finding me.
I think I've been around every damned office in these docks.
Except mine.
Yeah.
Well, this whole business of labour relations used to be just a case of finding a chap and saying, you go and keep in touch with the workers, don't tread on the toes of the unions, then leave him to it. Only, well, first they found that no one human being could possibly do all that. Then there was the question of the image the dock authorities presented if there was industrial trouble. A chap who might be terribly good at dealing with the men might be hopeless dealing with the unions. Ideal chap for dealing with the unions, he might be a disaster when it came to the press or TV.
Well, my problem is extremely simple.
Yes, I've been given the drift on the phone.
Oh, yes. By somebody who was shunting me to somebody else.
We do get a certain number of eccentric callers. Docks are second only to steam railway engines for bringing out the child in every man. So people do, as you put it, get shunted.
But you are the end of the line.
Yes.
It won't be that after I've explained the situation for the 7th time this afternoon that you just shunt me on to somebody else?
No, promise.
Right. Well, as you seem to know, I've got 3 crates that I want loading onto the Chepstow. Now, this may seem very unimportant to you, it may seem unimportant to Dibble, but it's very important to me. A £2 or £3 million order hangs on those crates being shifted in time.
National Association of Ships Chandlers Conveyancers. Well, I'm sure Mr. Dibble has told you they go back well into the days of wooden sailing ships.
Yes, I know all about that.
One time they're very important indeed. Second only to the press gang, you might say.
Yes, all I'm interested in is getting 3 crates onto a ship.
I realise that. As I was saying, now, most of the time, the association has no real role. Everything's handled in the normal way through agents, and the association doesn't come into it. Are you sure you wouldn't like some tea?
Yes, quite sure.
There are occasions when the association's work is indispensable, and now they've put in for an increase in their basic salaries. Of course, they're completely entitled to it. They are ludicrously underpaid.
Well, then why don't you give it to them?
We will, in time.
Why not now?
My job is to keep these docks running as smoothly as possible. If I immediately agree to Mr. Dibble's request, and in his place I'd have asked for double what he's asking, I would have to explain to the other unions why I don't automatically support their claims for wage increases. Besides which, simply because the association has delayed its action for so long, the wage differentiation has now swung the other way.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, simply that whereas, say, a century ago, a member of the association would be making twice the wage of a stevedore, now he's making less than half.
I see. Right, well, now then you give him the money and let's get my crate shipped.
Well, then the stevedore would object, you see. Well, he would insist that his wage should be increased proportionately to keep in step with the association.
But you already admitted you're going to give them their pay increase.
Well, they're completely entitled to it. It's simply a question of working out some sort of formula so that it looks as though they were getting this rise as a result of increased efficiency. That way, the other unions don't come into it directly.
But that takes time.
Well, actually, I have it all worked out. But it has to look as though we're bowing to pressure.
And meanwhile, my crates stay on those docks.
Not for long.
No, but long enough for me and incidental to this country to lose a very valuable export order for £2 or £3 million.
Unfortunately, yes.
And you don't give a damn.
Oh, I don't think that's quite fair. But my main concern is avoiding making this, frankly, rather small matter into grounds for a major dispute.
Well, I'm afraid that to me, £2 or £3 million is not a rather small matter.
One must keep a sense of proportion, Mr. Hine. In any industrial dispute worth talking about, one can assume it's costing somebody about £2 million a day, at least. I have been here, you know, with nothing at all happening outside. Nothing. And all I could do was sit here waiting for a telephone call. I'm sure you'll see that your few crates are hardly worth risking all that.
All what, exactly?
Widespread dispute.
And your position?
Well, I do now, I hope, enjoy the confidence of the union leaders.
But you couldn't jeopardize that by telling a few union leaders that Dibble is worth his money and you're going to give it to him.
The union leaders are responsible to their members.
But you are not, Mr. Murray.
I'm responsible, together with others, of course, for ensuring that the docks run as smoothly as possible. I must enjoy the confidence of the union leaders. I must enjoy the confidence of the employers. And indirectly, I must ensure that the unions enjoy the support of the workers. Otherwise, it's impossible to negotiate at all.
I see.
That many-headed monster, the mob, as someone called it, one can't negotiate with a mob. One has to encourage them to produce a spokesman, preferably one who's not too militant or too intelligent.
Why, so that you can outthink him?
You know what the working classes are like, bread and circuses. Or nowadays, biscuits and the place behind the goal.
I'm a Manchester City supporter myself.
Made your own way up. Good for you.
You know how? By treading on creeps.
Creeps?
Creeps. People who don't do anything that might risk their own bloody little position. People who'd rather the whole economy of this country grind to a halt rather than be shown up for what they are.
I don't know what you mean.
Well, you shouldn't, Mr. Murray, because you're a creep. You'd never do the obvious thing, would you? Like giving Dibble his money and telling a few union leaders to grow up and forget all about it.
I certainly don't intend...
You'd let Dibble go on believing he's got to make his bloody little gesture before you do anything at all.
It's a question of keeping
Look, you do anything
relationships...
to avoid telling anybody the truth.
I'm not going to have you
You don't mind
jeopardize
Dibble
me.
making himself look foolish. You don't mind the unions making themselves unpopular or the bosses making themselves unpopular. Just so, like any creep, you've got something to creep under.
You see him, Murray, then?
Yeah.
Don't get much out of him, brother.
No. What's it worth to get my 3 crates on the Chepstow?
What do you know? Talking about 4 men on the quay, another 4 down the old crane driver.
You know what I mean.
With more my job's worth, brother.
Association isn't anything to do with your union.
That's the point, isn't it?
Not to me, it isn't.
Union solidarity, you read the papers.
What if I told you the association is going to get its pay?
Oh, I believe you, brother. I know that already.
How?
Murray told me.
What?
You don't understand, do you? Point is this, if I do Murray down, he'd do me down. And once that happens, it won't just be your bloody crates don't get loaded, nothing will.
What do you mean?
All right. The employers, they used to pick you. They'd pick you like cows at a cattle market or girls in a knocking shop. You. Just like that. That was how we got work, brother. That was the dignity of labour they was on about.
Yeah, but it's not like that anymore, is it? I mean, one of you sneezes, the rest get danger money in case you catch cold.
Use you in the movement, brother.
So why can't you load my crate?
NASCC, they're not part of my union.
So I tell you.
But I want them in, see? In the old days, they used to think they was better than us. We was on strike, they'd come pushing through the picket lines in their little bowler hats and stiff collars. Well, it made no bloody difference, the ships didn't sail anyway.
So?
Dibble. I remember one time he just got himself a new car. Well, not new exactly, second-hand. New for him. And, he parked it just outside there. That was when there was a dispute on, and I remember asking him very politely not to go through the picket lines, but he insisted he was within his rights, of course. He wasn't involved in the dispute. They never did find that car of his. Mind you, I suppose they didn't think of looking at the bottom of the river.
And you still want him in your union?
Yeah.
Why?
Mr. Hine, would I be right in thinking that you wasn't what you might call born with a silver spoon in your mouth?
Mine said nothing.
So you'd understand. Dibble, all the people like him, they don't know this, but they belong to the working class. They didn't used to, but they do now. They belong to the lowest paid section of the working class around here, and you know why?
You tell me.
Because they didn't join us. Didn't get none of the gravy we bloody fought for, that's why. But they're still a danger to the working class movement, see? So long as they think they're different, as some of my members will think so too. Now, I got members here. Can't hardly sign their own names. Think there's a couple of planks. They look at Dibble with his apprenticeship and they feel inferior to him. Doesn't matter they earn twice what he does. They still feel inferior. So my duty to my members is to get the NASCC into my union. Workers of the world unite. But they won't bloody unite, not if they don't think they're workers.
My first instinct with the working class was to get the hell out of it.
Yeah, mine too. I saw your car. Nice. I'm saving up for one of them. But we're different. We're ambitious, you and me.
They cost a lot, you know, cars like that, new.
Yeah, I know.
I was thinking about selling mine. I wouldn't expect all that much for it, not second hand, you know.
How much?
Well, it was 50 quid.
50.
Yeah.
Do me a favour, like.
Yeah, you can
So I
try.
could do you a favour, right?
Well,
I could load your crates.
yeah, I'd be very grateful.
I'll trust you for it. Heads, I load your crates. Tails, you give me your car. Yeah, he was brought up all right.
There's crates. Suppose there were 3 more crates, identical.
Well,
On my manifest. Nothing to do with anything I'd ever seen before.
Go on.
Well, who's to tell which 3 get loaded?
don't give up, do you?
You can get to 60 from a standing start in 6.7 seconds in that car.
Hey, good brother, I'm with Dibble.
You want Dibble in your union just to tidy up the working class?
No, well, not only that.
What then?
You take my position. You must watch the telly. All them union leaders getting shouted down by their own members.
Yeah, I've heard about all that.
Yeah, that's because they get out of touch, see? Someone came down here now and said, right, everyone, we're all going on strike for an extra £5 a week. Nobody take any notice. But if I say, right, boys, we're going on strike for an extra £5 a week, they think I've got a case, they follow me, see?
So far, yeah.
But I don't do nothing stupid. I don't bring them out unless I'm damn sure I'm going to win. First I'll go to the management, put it to them. Now, you never heard of a management saying, look, lads, we've had a good year, here's an extra £5 a week. They don't work that way. I have to put it to them. 10 quid a week more, I say. 2 quid, they say. So I report back to my members, the management's been unreasonable. Management then offers £3.10 and someone makes a statement to the press about the state of the economy. It's like a dance. Maybe we even work the rule for a day. And we get our 5 quid, everyone's happy.
Well, what's this got to do with Dibble?
If he gets his increase...
Well, you've already told me he's
hold
going
it,
to.
Brother, I'm finished. If he gets his increase, just like that, all on his own, now where does that leave me?
Right where you are, I should imagine.
No. Because if anyone gets an increase, or better conditions, or shorter hours without going through one of the big unions, it might just dawn on some of my members to form their own little breakaways, every man for himself. Everything's got to be seen to be done the proper way. We've all got an interest in what happens to Dibble. Murray has. I have. You have.
So?
It's been arranged. Them 6 crates. They miss the chips, don't go on the Gulf Princess instead. Dibble's made his protest. So where's he go from there? Back to Murray. And what does Murray say? He says no joy. So then I have to come along. We're with you, brother, but you can't expect us to stop work when you're not even a member of our union. So then I go and see Murray, come back and tell Dibble his request for an increase has been granted in full, subject to this and that, and that he joins the union. So Dibble joins the union. And my members, they stop being jealous of Dibble, thinking he's different. He isn't. Not anymore.
No, not anymore.
I can tell you exactly what the arrangements are for Dibble, how he gets his increase. I was up till 2 in the morning with Murray the night before last arranging it.
I see.
Me and Murray, we understand each other. We get on very well together.
Yeah. I'm sure you do.
Mr. Hine, look, I've been trying to get you all day yesterday. No, the fact is, I've had a cable from HK Jameson. Jameson, where we're sending our hammocks. That's right. Well, the situation, and I'm speaking in confidence, of course, the situation is very embarrassing. You see, 4 of them hammocks, and that's bedding and mosquito netting and all that goes with them, well, 4 of them are required for a very distinguished party. No, I can't mention any names, but if you look who's going out to that part of the world in the next fortnight... Yeah, that's right, it's all in the papers. Yeah. Well, what I'm trying to say is, you see, it's worth a bob or two to me to get them crates on the Chepstow. Oh, you have you? I see that. It's only I've been onto the Macclesfield Chamber of Commerce and they can't help. No, I realise that. But otherwise, they'll have to use Japanese-made hammocks. And the thought of a very distinguished party using Japanese hammocks, well... Yes, or if there's anything you could do, you see, me not being on the spot. Aye. Yes, Well, thank you. No, thank you, Mr. Hine.
We think we have problems. I mean, all I stand to lose is a £2 or £3 million order. But unless our chum in Macclesfield gets his crates delivered on time, we'll have some rather obscure members of the royal family sleeping on Japanese hammocks.
I can get the crates on an aircraft as far as Tripoli on Thursday.
Good.
But I'm afraid there's nothing that anybody knows that can take them on from there.
Oh.
Alternatively, Air Commerce say they can get them to Brazzaville, but we'd have to pay for the charter the whole way from Gatwick.
Well, what the hell use are they in Brazzaville anyway?
That's the nearest we can get them.
Oh, there must be somebody who can help. What about government? Come on, look up government. And you start phoning round. Fix me an appointment with somebody in the Export Services Division of the Ministry of Trade.
When for?
This morning, of course. Damp ship sails tomorrow. And when you've done that, try Walpole Gibb. Tell him I'm coming over to see him.
Miss Tarrant said he was out of the country.
Oh, did she? Well, in that case, I'll go and see what sense I can get out of her. Do you know, in this whole business, there's only one man I've met who's still got any principles left. His name's Dibble.
I wouldn't bother if I were you.
Why not?
Have you ever heard of a government official who'll give you an interview at half an hour's notice?
I just do what I'm told.
You know what the trouble with Joe is? The trouble with Joe is once a member of the RAOC, always a member of the RAOC.
And what's that supposed to mean?
The Royal Army Ordnance Corps. The whole idea of there being an officer in the RAOC has always struck me as a slight contradiction in terms. That's why I've never really believed in Brigadier Harris.
Good morning. Could I speak to someone in your export division, please?
The Ordnance Corps consists, or rather ought to consist, of rather small men, corporals or thereabouts, the rank Joe Hine attained, who emerge from behind boxes of bullets with forms that have to be signed in triplicate. And there are 37 forms for every bullet. And each form is sent on to another small corporal, who in turn makes 37 receipts of each form and sends those on to another 37 small corporal.
Hello? Hello?
And that is the world of Joe Hine. Of course, he succeeds because he's slightly more ruthless than his competitors, but like Astor Harris, who despite the rank Joe accidentally arranged he got, he's a corporal underneath.
Come on. Yes, I was flashing. I'm holding on for someone in your export division.
Of course, I don't think Joe can ever really... No, I have one tiny talent Joe lacks. You know what it is?
Surprise me.
I am what is rather embarrassingly called officer material. Joe is not. Oh, officer material has got nothing to do with being intelligent or being brave. Some of the most craven idiots I've ever known were among my brother guards officers. No, it means you're the sort of person who, when he gives an order, however imbecilic, however suicidal, people obey it. And the only reason they obey it is not because they haven't realized how absurd the order is. It's just that if you're a natural-born officer, you expect to be obeyed, and if you're a natural-born other rank, you expect to obey. Even though you may be 10 times as bright as the officer.
Hello? Yes, export, that's right. Where are you going?
Come in. You know, you're very naughty, Mr. Hine.
What a thing to say.
Telling the security people that Mr. Gibb had authorized you to enter.
Well, they checked with you, didn't they?
Yes.
Then you're at least as guilty as I am. Besides, how else could I have given you this?
For me?
Well, it's a bit big for Walpole's buttonhole.
Oh, how beautiful. Wherever did you get it?
Well, you see, there's this little yellow gardener to the north of Kathmandu, and there are these yaks.
Yaks?
Yes, a yak is a hairy sort of camel, hence the word yashmaks. It should really be yak smacks, which is the Nepalese for being kicked by a yak. Anyway, this little yellow gardener sends me these little yellow flowers whenever the little yellow yaks make it possible.
Do you know, Mr. Hine, you're the only person who ever comes into this office and makes me laugh?
No, not really. Why? Where's Walpole?
Oh, I'm afraid he isn't here.
Oh, he's gone abroad, is he?
I really don't know.
Oh, well.
I only wish I could help you.
Well, do you know, I think you can. Tell me, to whom does Walpole go when he's got some trouble with a union dispute?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think there's any one single person.
Now, there must be some, what's the phrase, channel of communication.
Oh, well, it's really not the sort of thing that Mr. Gibb has to deal with. Normally the firms deal with it themselves.
Well, look, I'll put all my cards in your lap, if you'll forgive the familiarity. Pendles have got 3 crates that are stuck at the docks because of a minor dispute.
Oh, but surely if Pendles are handling them.
No, they're not. You see, Astor Harris very craftily lumbered me with them.
I see.
Now, the crates are unimportant, but if they don't go out on time, I lose a pretty large order. Understand?
Yes.
Now, this is off the record. Promise.
Oh, yes.
Well, I've been approached by Sir Christopher Pendle. I think he wants to offer me a job.
Oh.
Astor Harris's job. I mean, I'm telling you this not because I'm going to take the job, but I'd just love to be in the position to refuse it. It's a personal thing, really. You see, Astor is trying to make me look incapable of even getting some crates onto a ship. And I'm jolly well going to show Sir Christopher that just because Astor can't do something doesn't mean to say it's impossible.
Mr. Hine, has Sir Christopher actually offered you this job?
Not in so many words, no, but he keeps on ringing me up asking me to see him.
Well, I wouldn't rely on it.
Why not?
I can't say any more than that.
But I'm not going to take the job. I mean, anything you tell me won't affect Astor.
No, no, please. I've already said more than I ought to.
Love, you haven't said anything yet.
Well, I don't know anything officially.
Yes, but as we've agreed, this is an unofficial conversation, so he can't possibly do any harm, can he?
Well, it was just something that Mr. Gibbs said. Of course, he wasn't really talking to me. He was sort of talking to himself.
Oh, no, you don't mean Walpole's taken to muttering to himself. I mean, going around thinking he's being persecuted by taxi drivers or something.
Oh, no, 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 nothing like that.
Huh?
It was just that he was rather annoyed at being involved at all.
Involved in what?
Internal matters at Pendle's.
Go on.
Well, you see, Mr. Gibb asked me. Of course, he didn't expect an answer. But he asked me if I thought it was part of his job to... No, I'm sorry. I really cannot say any more.
Well, you can't stop there. I mean, I'll be awake all night wondering what dreadful secret you and Walpole share.
Well, Mr. Hine, if I tell you, you won't mention it to anyone else.
Of course not.
Well, Sir Christopher Pendle said to Mr. Gibb, I think his actual words were, somebody ought to put a bomb up.
Yeah, I can imagine, yes. But, look, where would this bomb be? Not literally, of course.
Well, it seems Sir Christopher is dissatisfied with the arms and the sales department.
With Astor Harris?
Yes.
But I tell you that.
Oh, no, 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 there's more, you see. This is why Mr. Gibb was so annoyed. Could make his relationship with Brigadier Harris, well, rather difficult. You see, Sir Christopher wanted you to think what you did think, that you were going to be offered Mr. Harris's job. In actual fact, you're not going to be offered it at all. It's only so that Mr. Harris will worry that his position is in danger and become a little more active.
You mean Sir Christopher wanted to use me just to scare the pants off Astor Harris?
Yes, I suppose you could put it that way. Anyway, when Sir Christopher told Mr. Gibb, he became very angry, really, because he did not want to be involved at all.
Yeah.
Mr. Gibb does not like trickery.
Except his own.
Oh, well, I suppose he considers that part of his job.
Yes, well, thank you very much indeed, love. You've just prevented me from making a complete fool of myself.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
These crates. There's still plenty of time to get them on the Chepstows now.
Well, sir, we're not handling these crates.
I didn't ask you that. I asked if there was still time to get them on the ship.
Oh, yes, sir, if we was handling them. She don't sail till tomorrow afternoon. This will go as deck cargo anyway. But you see, sir, we're not handling them.
So you keep saying. Tell me, where can I find Dibble?
Mr. Dibble? Oh, I'll show you, sir. Just follow me.
All right, don't get up. Which one of you is Dibble?
I am.
I have just come from Sir Christopher Pendle. He is extremely angry about the delay over his shipment.
It's a question of principle.
I don't think you're in any position to talk about principles. Have you the slightest idea what your action is costing this country?
We're only
For your
delaying the
information,
shipment.
as a result of your behaviour, this country will probably lose £3 million worth of exports.
We've tried every other way to bring our claims to the attention.
Will you
didn't
just
rush
listen to
into
me
haste.
for a moment? I want those crates loaded on the Chepstow when she sails tomorrow.
I assure you, sir.
The only assurance I require from you is that you'll stop this absurd posturing. I want you to do what you're paid to do. Is that quite clear?
We have the support of the doctors.
Yes, I should imagine you do.
It's only a token
If
gesture.
you picked up that telephone now and you told them that you would load the crates onto the Chepstow, that would be the end of the matter, right?
But if
So
you're-
do exactly that.
The history of this trouble.
I'm not interested in ancient history. I'm interested in the future of this country, something which you seem to hold in very little regard.
Really?
As far as I'm concerned, I find it very depressing that this nation is dependent for its very existence on men who are so unpatriotic, so completely selfish that you will endanger the future of one of our largest companies over an issue so trivial you don't even have the moral fibre to bring it out into the open by declaring a normal strike. Do you know what would happen if people knew about this? No decent man or woman would speak to you. You'd both be a laughing stock. When I think of the troubles Christopher has been on your
Christopher
behalf...
has personally intervened in this matter.
Naturally, some of us still have some sense of responsibility.
Sir, may I ask...
No.
what discussion...
But you may take it from me, you will get your absurd salary increase, and you will nominally join with one of the larger unions as associates.
Are you sure of this, sir?
Of course.
Can we have it in writing?
Certainly not. I've given you my word. That should be quite enough for you.
Yes, sir.
So now pick up that telephone and tell them that you've decided that all the crates that are to be loaded onto the Chepstow will be loaded.
When will he be in? One moment. He's not expected back today and he's engaged all tomorrow.
Lucky we're not having a nuclear war, isn't it? The bloody thing will be over before your department got to hear about it. You certainly can't hope in Tripoli.
No, the only man who sounded as if he had any ideas at all said he called back immediately about 4 hours ago.
Well, phone him.
I did, but he was out like everyone else. I tried 3 times.
So that leaves Brazzaville, but the crates will probably stay rotting on the aerodrome there for months. Where the hell have you been?
Seeing chaps?
You know, somewhere there must be one undiscovered, unknown civil servant who's prepared to move just once to justify his salary.
You still worried about those crates?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I am, yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't if I were you. Worry about the crates.
Why not?
They're going on the Chepstow.
What?
That's what I've been seeing chaps about.
Get married. At the docks.
Tell me, Joe, what's the RAOC tie like, or don't you have one? Have a muffler or something? It's all fixed, I can show you.
Hello? Hello, Mr. Murray. This is Joe Hine. Huh? You were just about to phone me, were you? I see. What? Well, how the hell do I know? Oh, yeah? Hmm? Yes. You did you? I see. Right. And you fixed it all right.
I told you I did.
You never learn, do you? You just think that all you have to do is to walk in unannounced and give people a string of orders like it was in the army, but it's not like that anymore, don't you understand? Nowadays, if somebody is standing on your foot, you ask him very politely to get off. Otherwise, he'll kick you in the crotch as well.
Oh, Joe, what are you going on about? When I left Dibble, he picked up the phone to Murray.
When you left Dibble, he picked up the phone to Murray to tell him that thanks to you, my crates don't go on the Chepstow, and they don't go on the Gulf Princess either. What's more, if I go down to those docks and try to move those crates out again, I'll be stopped from doing that too. Those crates have got to stay there until Dibble gives me permission to have them shifted. Well, congratulations, Jeremy. You've managed to do something that no government has ever been able to do. You've managed to unite all the bosses and all the workers. And what they're united against is me. Hello. No, Mr. Hine does not want to speak to Sir Christopher.
So what are you going to do?
What I'm going to do is, I'm going to go down to the docks and I'm going to try to get those crates out again. I'm going to go and see Murray and say, old chap, I'm in a bit of a hole. And then I'm going to go and see Cooper and say, we do understand each other. And then I'll go and see Dibble and say, of course, I respect your position enormously. That's what I'm going to do. What you've made me do. Creep!
Can I come along too? And witness this exercise in tact and diplomacy?
Who let you in?
Don't go in much for security in this office, do you? Of course, I can see you've got your hands rather full at the moment.
Well, congratulations, Astor. You're proving yourself a survivor. But I mean, anybody who could actually attain the rank of brigadier without ever hearing a bullet fired in anger.
Oh, dear. The miracle man has run out of miracles, hasn't he?
I'll still get those crates moved.
Good.
You like to bet?
I'll cover anything you put down.
You'd only Welsh.
Fine. Joe. Christopher's a little worried that you never called him back. I'd return his call if I were you. Nobody'll think you're creeping.